All right, welcome to SCAA Stories, the podcast dedicated to amplifying the stories, experiences, and triumphs of first-generation and/or limited-income students at Johns Hopkins University. I'm your co-host, Erica Trainer.
And I'm your co host, Carla Chicas. We are so excited to kick off our very first episode with you all today. We're also joined by our incredible student guest speakers who will share their experience with SCAA, the Success Coaching Program in Academic Advising at Johns Hopkins University. So without further ado, let's meet our guest speakers, Mare and Nikkei.
Hi everyone, I'm Mare. I'm a junior in material science and engineering with a minor in psychology and mathematics. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Hi, I'm Nikkei. I'm a junior with a major in computer science with minors in mathematics and marketing and communications.
Amazing. Thank you two so much for being here. We're so excited. As we said, this is our first episode of this special podcast series. And so we are super excited to just get into what success coaching is all about and how it can make a really lasting impact on our students' academic and personal lives. So let's dive in.
Great. So today we're shining a spotlight on SCAA, which is the Success Coaching Program in Academic Advising. And so a little bit of the background is SCAA was established in 2018 as a program to support first generation and or limited income students, known as FLY, throughout their undergraduate journey at Hopkins. The program offers holistic, personalized advising that extends beyond academics to really just encompass personal and professional development. Each student in the program will be paired with an academic advisor / success coach who serves as both their academic guide and their mentor. The coaches help with course planning, connecting students to campus resources, and really just provide support tailored to each student's unique experiences and goals. So in this episode, we're going to dive deeper into how SCAA operates. We'll share stories from students within the program and just really explore the impact as well of the impact on the Hopkins community.
So I know that was a lot of info about what SCAA is, but we want to hear from you two. What do you feel like, what defines SCAA, and how would you say that it impacts your college experience, or how it did impact your college experience? So, Mare?
For me, initially, I got an email from SCAA the summer before my freshman year, and I thought it was a scam. I was like, I have no idea what this is. And then I started getting more emails, and I was like, okay, maybe I should start reading these. And ever since then, my advisor has been my lifeline. Like, I've never seen somebody support me so much, whether it was in high school or like before. And it could be like 3 a.m, and I'll send her a quick email being like, oh my God, help me, please. And obviously I don't expect her to answer at 3 a.m, but she's always there. She's always welcoming, and her door is always open. And I feel like it's made college a lot easier, especially being a first generation student. I don't really have that support from home. Obviously I have support from home, but I don't have like college life support. So having her there and just being like, what do I do now? Like, I don't know what to do in this situation. She's able to both calm me down and then help me plan out what to do next.
Amazing. I love that.
So for me, SCAA has just been the built-in support system. They've been my first line of support for everything, whether I just want to vent about a class or I'm happy about something that's happened in my life. You know, they've just been that person who I can always go to, and I know that they're excited for me. They're excited to hear about what I have to say, and they want to see me, like, they're always rooting for me. They want to see me achieve all my goals, and they're there to help me, especially knowing that as a FLY student, I don't have the same resources or the same opportunities or even like the background knowledge that some other students might have coming into Hopkins. So knowing that I have someone there who wants to see me do great, it's just an amazing feeling.
Yeah, definitely. I think just having someone in your corner to help navigate this new experience, I'm sure is amazing. So to kind of go over a little bit more of what SCAA is, we thought it would be a great idea to have a little game of true or false. Carly, you want to start us off with the first question?
Of course. And so the first question is, SCAA serves nearly 30% of students at Hopkins, including international and transfer students. Is this true or is this false?
True.
I think true.
Yes, that is correct. Our program serves nearly 30%, and that includes both international and transfer students. Awesome. All right. Question number 2. Students must be first generation and or limited income, or what we like to say or call fly, to participate in SCAA. True or false?
True.
True.
And that is correct.
2 for 2. The next question is, the program began in 2015. True or false?
I have no idea. I'm going to say false because they've
Yeah.
been true so far.
False.
Ding, ding, ding. Yes, the program began in 2018, or it was established in 2018.
Yeah, so we haven't been around for too long, but I think in the 8 years now, right? As you've mentioned, it's been a great impact for our students. Question 4. SCAA offers first-year students a mentor, most known as a hula.
True.
Yes, that is true. And do you know what hula stands for?
Hopkins Undergraduate Leader in Advising.
Bonus points. Yes. So that's been a great addition or resource in our program as well, just providing our first-year students with that mentor.
So last question is, SCAA supports undergraduate and graduate students in the Whiting School of Engineering and the Krieger School of Arts and Sciences.
False. I don't think you support
Graduate students. So I think false.
And you think correct. Yes, we primarily just serve undergraduate students in the Whiting School of Engineering and the Krieger School of Arts and Sciences.
Yeah, so again, I mean, we haven't been around for too long, but we have grown every year. Our team is now, how many of us are there, Carla?
A good amount.
Yes. I think about 20, 25 in terms of advisors and our associate directors. And so it started off with only about 3 advisors, I think. So definitely have grown. And I'm just so happy to be a part of this program.
Yeah, and I think that also shows that as our team has grown, that also means the population of FLY students has also grown here at Johns Hopkins University, and that's amazing to see as well.
Yeah, so that's a great segue into just kind of talking about being first gen and or limited income in higher education. So I know we're all FLY here. We are all first generation and or limited income graduates or current students. And so I know from my experience, we were talking a little bit about this earlier, it was just scary navigating that first year, right? When your parents don't really know or have no clue what it's like to go and be independent and go to all these classes. So definitely, I want to start off with, what are some misconceptions of being a FLY student or even SCAA, and how do you think we can shift that narrative? So I'll start with you, Nikkei.
I think one of the biggest misconceptions about being a FLY student is that we have it easier because we have dedicated support on campus. And I feel like that's just not a fair assumption, because they don't realize the reason why we have that dedicated support. We, as FLY students, we most likely don't have the same opportunities or the resources that other students might come in with, and that they might take for advantage. And because of that, that's why we have that support, so that now we can make our academic life easier or our time in college easier, but more so that we can try to level the playing field so that we can have equal opportunities. So I feel like for us to shift that narrative is really to highlight just how hardworking and determined we as FLY students are, and that we're not trying to make our lives easier, we're just trying to have the same opportunities as everybody else.
That's amazing.
I completely agree. I feel like a big part of being FLY is continuously telling people, like, yeah, I know I have these resources, but we are still not on the same playing field. I'm still, like, if it's not difficulty in school, it's difficulty finding work because you don't have that network. It's difficulty going out and doing research because you don't know how to reach out to somebody and you're too scared to ask. I think another misconception is just, like, if you're fly, you should be ashamed of it, especially on Hopkins campus, not to diss any other universities. But I feel like we have such a huge fly community that it's more celebrated than it is like something you should be ashamed of. And I feel like that's very important because I know just taking that step into college and being like, okay, I went from having my parents around or having a small support system to having absolutely no one. But then coming to campus and being like, okay, I do have a community and like I do fit in somewhere, even if it's not off the bat and you have to go to a few events first.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to plug in the Fly Network here because I think they do a great job with just showcasing and programming different events for our Fly students. So shout out to Hannah and Brian and Medina over at Fly Network.
Yeah, and I think you both brought up just great insight into knowing that although there are resources offered specifically for Fly students, there are also barriers that you encounter when you enter college, university that not many other students will know or have to experience. And so those resources are not in addition, they're just speaking to the barriers that you have to navigate and work through because the history of higher education, higher ed was not created for people with background like Fly students.
Yep, say that
And
again.
so there's a lot of having, again, not just the academic or financial resources, but even just the psychological resources that Fly students and backgrounds like theirs can not just survive college, but can also thrive here. And can feel supported and feel celebrated, knowing that I don't just have to hide my background, but it can be celebrated and it matters. And so, yeah, thank you so much, both of you, for sharing. Next question is, what is your favorite part about being a Fly student?
I know for me, my favorite part is about being a Fly student is the community that we have on campus. It is such a nice. It's nice to know that. Okay, let's see. No, okay, but like coming into college, one of my biggest concerns was trying to find that where I would fit in, that community where I would be happy and comfortable with sharing who I am, just building those relationships. It's like that was one of my biggest concerns. So then coming onto campus where I know that, okay, there's this dedicated community where they understand me, I understand them, we share some of the same values and beliefs. It was just an amazing feeling to know that. And then it was just nice.
Nikkei definitely just stole my answer. But I think another good part about being Fly, again, specifically at Hopkins, not to diss any other university again, but is all the resources that you get. And while, yes, they are just leveling the field, they level the field pretty well. Walking in, you have the hula that we mentioned. And then later on, you can apply to become a hula and help people that were already in your shoes. I think also a lot of the programs they offer, I know there's research for students who just had no experience, were scared to reach out. Can't remember the exact acronym, but you'll be exposed to a lot of the acronyms Hopkins has.
Oh my gosh, the acronyms list can go on.
I don't think it will ever end.
No.
But I think just having the people and the community and just honestly, it's like a built-in family. And it's just nice knowing, okay, I have this community. I have these people who are actually rooting for me in a university that's somewhat competitive. And just having, okay, oh my God, you're Fly too. We should like hang out. We should study together, or we should do this, or we should do that. You can make so many friends just by like, I didn't know you were Fly. That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely, I think sense of belonging in higher education, right? There's so much research that goes into making sure that when students go to higher ed, that sense of belonging is so important. So just hearing you two talk about the community here at Hopkins, specifically the Fly Network or just the Fly community, it's great because as an advisor, we want to make sure our students are successful. So I'm just so happy to hear that you two can see and also feel the support at Hopkins.
And although I'm no longer a Fly student, but a Fly graduate, I think one of my favorite parts is that deep down inside, I think I'll always know that I'm a Fly student. And one of my favorite parts is I think you both mentioned it briefly, like that power of community, and when you feel that, you feel a sense of gratitude. So a sense also to pay it forward. And so even now, in the position that I'm currently in, having the opportunity to pay it forward and continue my work with Fly students is one of my favorite parts of being able to empower students on their academic journeys. And I thank you both because even in your participation in this episode and sharing your stories within the program and what it means to be Fly, you're also paying it forward as well as other students hear and understand that they're not alone in their experience and that they can feel empowered as well.
Yeah, I love that, Carla. I think, again, being in this role, I wish now looking back on my experience in college, like I wish I would have had this same kind of community and even an advisor dedicated to Fly students because let me tell you, I was a bit lost, I feel like. And so I'm just grateful, as you said, to pay it forward.
Yeah. So, kind of on that same line of thought with really building community, building a network, we know also the importance of mentorship and the impact that it has on your academic journey. And knowing that, again, when Fly students, enter college, they don't understand necessarily the rules of higher education and or how do you go to a professor's office hours? What does it mean to make those type of connections and professionally network? And so having a mentor to be able to help you answer those questions that you might be too afraid to ask, or even asking, should I even ask this question, can help you feel in building your confidence and also seeking out that support. And so with that in mind, we would love for you both to kind of share your favorite SCAA memory and or your favorite experience with a mentor that you've had.
Okay, I'll get started. For me, it was during Hop-In. So just a little bit of background. Hop-In is a 5-week program for students who are both first generation and low income. And it's just like an introduction to college life. You get to take a few classes, make a few friends. I think my favorite was the SCAA luncheon we had. It was, I believe, during the beginning, like the first few weeks, everybody was freaking out. Like we were just put on campus. We were told you can't have your phones, you have to make friends. And looking back, it was a good experience. But in the moment, everyone was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I can't hold my phone. And on that day, we went to a big kind of room with a lot of circular desks. And we sat down with our SCAA mentors or SCAA advisors and with the groups of students who had the same advisor. So in that moment, it was kind of like, okay, well, we have something in common now. I know you have the same advisor. And my advisor, Ms. Shayna.
Shout out Shayna Moody.
Yes. She was absolutely incredible. She went through and talked to all of us, like, what's your majors? The basic icebreakers first. But then it was like, okay, this might be scary. And we know it's scary. And it's okay to be scared. But I'm here to help you through it. And I think just having that in the first few weeks, or even before the first few weeks, I felt a lot more comfortable coming to campus and being like, okay, I have somebody here who has my back.
Yeah, no, I've talked to a couple of students who participated in Hop-In, and it's always like they run in this crew at the beginning of the semester, and then they know each other. So, yeah.
I think for me, my favorite SCAA memory was actually when I got my first grade back for my chem exam. And I did not do too well. And I was a bit upset because chem wasn't going the way that I was hoping for it for the semester. So I had sent an email to my advisor, Dan. And
Shout out, Dan.
and he got back to me. We were able to schedule a meeting, and I was just telling him about how my feelings. And instead of just going straight into blaming me for my grade or critiquing me about how I studied, instead he validated my feelings, and he's like, okay, this is very understandable understandable for you to have these feelings and to be upset about your grade and be upset about how the class is going for you. And he was just able to validate that. And then from there, he went on to trying to figure out a solution for myself. So what can I do differently to prepare for the next exam? So he pointed me in the direction of different resources, so learning then and study consulting so that I can get a better grasp on the material and then figure out a better study schedule for myself, because I can't lie, didn't have the best study schedule. But it was just in that moment that I realized that, okay, they're actually really here to support me. They're not just here to say, okay, we've had our meeting, we discussed classes, let's move on. It was more so, okay, I actually want to see this student do well. I care about them. I want to see them achieve their goals.
Yeah. No, I think I don't want to speak for all of us on the SCAA team, but I will say all of us genuinely care and are in this role because, either we have experience being fly ourselves or we just want to make sure our students are successful. So I definitely think that this team, we love to see our students be celebrated for the wins, and then we also want to be there to support you all through those difficult times as well, because it can be hard navigating not just your first year but then being a junior now, right? I'm sure you go to your advisors probably just as maybe frequently, or yeah. Yeah, because your first year you're expected to meet with them bi-weekly. And so then that shifts to monthly as a sophomore, and then as a junior or senior, you really just have to meet with them at a minimum once a semester. But do you both see your advisor more than once a semester?
I see Dan every month. So yeah.
Yeah, I see Miss Shayna almost every month also. Mostly in the advising office, but then I'll be like, oh my god, I have another problem.
Yeah.
She's always willing to help. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you two for coming and being on this episode, and sharing just, what it means to you to be in SCAA. It definitely, as Carla has mentioned, it helps hear student voices. So that was a big kind of push with this podcast, is just making sure we are emphasizing our student voices in SCAA. And so we really appreciate you two coming and just sharing your thoughts.
Yeah, I couldn't say it any better myself. Thank you so much, Mayor and Nikkei, for sharing your insight on the impact that the program SCAA has had on your college experience and academic journey, and also what it means for you to be fly and empowering other students also to be celebrated in that identity. And I cannot wait for Dan and Shayna to see you walk across that graduation stage next year, knowing that it truly does take a village, and we're so thankful that we get to be a part of our students' journeys and form part of their village. And so we're excited to hear more stories from our SCAA students. And so we thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you, listeners, and thank you, Mayor Nikkei, again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.